Hey, this is Bonnie, and today I am going to do my June roundup. So June was quite a month. It was quite a month. I really wasn't in the mood to do so much content creation this past month. I really wanted to take a back seat and learn, digest, kind of work on my own self and kind of listen and see what I can do to be a better to be a and more activated person in my community, better and more activated corporate citizen, all of that stuff. So I've been really kind of reflecting and absorbing and learning, and that's me, like being a Sagittarius. I'm like always wanting to learn, and I've been just digesting so much lately. But I've also been focusing a lot on self care because I need to focus on my health as well. And I think, that's something that's, with anxiety, I didn't want to neglect that. So I got a rower because that is one of that's the thing that I missed the most about the gym, actually, was using the rowing machine, because the rowing machine for me it's such a calming, it's so meditative for me to be on a rowing machine and just that back and forth motion. So I've been really kind of feeling more healthy by doing that and all that kind of stuff. I've also been playing a little too much Animal Crossing than I care to admit, but I've been pretty much doing that. However, I'm not as bad as the people that I work with, because the people I work with, there's a Slack channel dedicated to like trading turnips and all that stuff, and it's kind of insane. There's a whole bartering system. Come to my island and I have this and this. If you water my plants, it's it's like this whole crazy thing. It's so much fun. It's definitely a good distraction from everything else going on, because it's like some days are just very heavy and then you just wanna oof. But as far as my practice is evolving, I can't believe, and I want to do a separate video on like how much my process has evolved in just the first half of this year. And I've been reading for years. Like, I started reading when I was in my teens, so I've been reading for about 30 years, but kind of been on and off. Never really did daily journaling until this year. That's what really changed everything, but also coming up with systems and how to select my decks and all this other stuff has just significantly changed just in 6 months. So it was kind of interesting to see that progression. And now I'm on journal 3, because the first 2 iterations of my journaling fun didn't really work out so well. So I got this new Traveler's Journal by Mochi Things, and I love this. I bought one. I love this journal so much that I bought another journal for my work schedule and my work notes, so that everything is in one place. And that has been, I'm just gonna wait and see with this and see where I'm at in a couple months and see if I'm still like in love with this system. So I'm not gonna go through that today, but that's like another favorite thing. And if you like stationery, because this is what I realized. I realized I am never going to be one of those art collage art collage journal people. I was so inspired. I'm always in awe when I go into Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot. Whenever I go on her channel, I'm like, I want to do that. I'm so inspired. And then when I'm like, I gotta print all this stuff. I need more ink. I have to buy some more of this. And then I'm just like, eh. I realize that I'm more of a writer than an artist, and it's still being an artist, right? Like, writing is art. I have good handwriting. I could, print out a couple of pictures of spreads, right? So it's like, So my journaling is evolving, so let's see about that. And the other thing that's also been a really great, exercise for me for this past month, was I signed up for Ethany's summer school, and I took the TDM class, so I took Tom Benjamin's Marseille class, and that was amazing. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. Actually, I can talk about that right now. So I signed up for summer school because there's some really great there's a really great lineup. And I really wanted to take the Marseille class. I'm not really much of a Marseille person, but I was always like, kind of like, I can learn a new system. I'd love to learn a new system. I really want to just learn as much as I can, right? And also, I saw that Chrisanne is teaching a course, and like there's some other really interesting courses. So I signed up for the package, which was a nice, fun, like, let me do something, to expand my tarot learning. For the TDM class, for the Marseille class by Tom Benjamin, I highly recommend this class, especially if you've ever been like intimidated by Marseille, or you've had a fascination with Marseille. If you have an aversion, you're like, I'm never learning Marseille, then maybe you don't want to do this. But I learned so much just about numerology and associations, and just it really kind of opened my eyes a lot. And I bought the Stone Marseille by Lily Stone. And I don't know if you could tell, but this is a deep midnight blue. So it's the first Marseille deck that I've owned that is actually based on a traditional Marseille deck. Any other Marseille-esque decks that I have are more Marseille-esque. They're more pip decks, they're more modern, they're not really based. But check that edging. Yeah, there you go. Check that edging out. It's like a blue opalescent kind of edging, and the backs are really beautiful. And as far as Marseille decks go, this is just stunning. And the class was fun, and the exercises that were presented were just, they were fun and quirky, and I just really enjoyed the class. So if you ever have an interest at all in Marseille, you should definitely, I would highly recommend this class, for sure. It's very comprehensive. It's a long class. Like, if, it took me it took me longer than I thought to complete it, but this was such a good class. And also this deck is really great. So that was, those are the couple of, fun things. But then I wanted to go into my working decks of the month, because I worked with a few decks this month, and I always plan out my decks based on, like I've mentioned in the past, like I base my working decks on like the astrological kind of, like what week it is in the astrological cycle and the grand cycle. So I look at the personalities attributed to the specific weeks, and I just try to see, like, do I have a deck that matches that personality? And I kind of jot down ideas, and now I have a whole section in my new journal dedicated to all this. But it's definitely transformed how I do my daily draws and how I select my decks, because I can never, because I have quite a collection, I'm a collector at heart, I'm never gonna stop collecting. Because I'm a collector at heart, I'm very much like, I don't know what I'm in the mood for. It's like when you go to a diner and you look at the menu and you're like, I don't know what I want. I know what I don't want, but I don't know what I do want. So like having this premeditative kind of exercise, and trying to do some deck planning, and sometimes they change, and I allow, like, I'm not tied to a specific, like, if I planned something a month ago and then like the week before I'm about to use something, I'm like, you know what, this resonates more with the energy of right now. I allow that, like, that's fine. But I like to kind of go through my master list of decks and then check off, like, what fits with this week and everything like that. So that's kind of my weird little system that I have going. So the first week of June, I used The Dark Days by Ren Mercado. This is such a good, I love this deck. I have the high gloss, the high contrast rather, the shiny deck. But the reason why I got this is because I love the silver gilding. So I really do love the silver gilding. And this really resonated with that first week of June. The energy, this is a very deep and emotional deck. This is a moon deck. This is a deck that has that really personifies with the moon. So there's a lot of this lunar deep energy to it, and it felt like the perfect deck to use that first week of June. It was so deep, it resonated on so many different levels, and it actually was very healing for me during a week of tremendous like emotional, just a very emotional week. This really worked with that energy, like, wow. So I was so appreciative of this deck, and this was the first time I actually used it as a weekly working deck, so it blew my mind, actually, because it was so good. And with that, I paired it with the Fox Universe. And I've shown this deck before. This is a self-care oracle, and I use it as an oracle. I don't use it as a tarot. It's not a tarot. It's not, none of the cards or the suits in this deck correspond to tarot. But I've been pulling this one out a lot this year, and especially lately, and it has this lovely gold gilding. The stock is nice. I mean, it feels really nice to shuffle. But this deck for this year has been really healing. It's been really good at helping me cope. It's been very good about bringing those shadows to light. It's so nurturing, and it's also so deep, and it's so truthful. This is a deck that just hits you with the truth serum. Like, it hits you with that truth. And it's needed. It's needed, for sure. This is a very powerful deck, and I love using it. And it's become a favorite. It's definitely, for sure, become a big favorite of mine. So that's the Fox Universe. Then I took out, the week after that, I took out my other, like, another workhorse of the year that was very surprising to me, and that's the Urban Tarot. I've shown this before. This deck is, seriously, it's become a true workhorse for me. It's definitely very tied to everything that's going on right now. It has the joy and the sorrow of the city. It has the corruption and greed. It has inequality. It has, it is everything that is both right and wrong with modern life. And same with the characters of this deck. It's like you have joy and pain, and you have people who are powerful and powerless, and it's just, this deck has become so critical this year. So I just wanted to show this off a bit. Yeah, so I mean, this has become like one of my favorite decks, and it's amazing for the moment. It's definitely amazing for the moment. Used that in conjunction with my Netivot Netivot Oracle. It is based on the teachings of the Kohenet Hebrew Priestess Training Institute. So this is a very Jewish-infused deck, so it's very tied to my culture. What I do love about this deck, too, is that it is not Ashkenazi normative, because there are a lot of different types of Judaism, so it's not just Ashkenazi Eastern European Jews. You have Sephardic Jews, you have Persian Jews, you have Ethiopian Jews, You have Jews from all over the world, like Jewish people from all over the world, and there is representation in this deck. So I really appreciate this, and also it's helped me go back to my ancestral roots. And this is also a Jewish feminist deck. So I really, really appreciate this because I feel like it's bringing me back to my roots to a certain degree. So I am extremely appreciative of this. And then there's that. I just love this deck. And I felt like the artwork really resonates very well with the urban. And they really worked well together. And I've brought this out quite a few times this year. This has been very, very insightful for me. So, so there's that. Third week of June, I took out my 2 Crystal Banner decks. Crystal Banner is the founder of Kaleidodope, founder, designer, entrepreneur of Kaleidodope. She is a very talented Black deck creator and artist and entrepreneur, solopreneur. Her store is fabulous. It has decks and candles and incense and beauty supplies and really quirky greeting cards and all sorts of stuff, but I love this deck. When I saw this, I got this on the first run, and I was immediately drawn to it just because I am a sucker for really good and quirky graphic design. I also love things that are very pop culture, and she has such a pulse on pop culture. Also, another thing to know too, Crystal Banner right now has the 2020 Visions Tarot live on Kickstarter right now. It is powerful, and it's so tied to the current moment. And it's going to be a majors only deck, but it's seriously, I backed it the moment I could because it's probably one of the most important. It's that artwork just kind of got me in the gut, and that's what I need right now. What I love about this, the Life is Like a Board Game, is I love the use of color because for the minors, for all the numbered cards is one color, and then the suits are another color, a coordinated color for each of the suits. So I really like that. The keywords do not bother me because it looks exactly like the game board pieces. And I just find it quirky, and I love the iconography of this. This is just a really well-designed, well-planned, well-thought-out deck, and the cards have a really nice linen kind of feel to it, and I really just love it. And I also worked with the Soundtrack Oracle, which looks like a little mini CD case, complete with a little, price tag, and there's a spiritual advisory. So, but this is quirky too, and I really love the backs of these. Look like real CDs, and these might look all like a lot of fun, and they are fun to work with. But they pack a punch, and they are this combo blunt. Like, it gives you that truth right away, and it uncovered a lot. I mean, they look like fun, they are fun to work with, but these are spiritual tools, and these are really direct and really just get to your gut, and I love them. These are awesome decks. And then the final combo, so I worked with I received recently the Solara Occulto which is created by Amanda Spicer, and I just love this deck. It's quirky. It has this nice limited color palette, like this burnt sienna. I had to say burnt sienna, gold, black, and white palette, and this deck has this very alchemical feel to it. It has this very otherworldly, part mythological, part like God's got like this very like supernatural feel to it in a very earthy way. So it's just this very like it's a very spiritual, like it feels very spiritual to me. Um and it just feels like almost like folk, like folklore. It feels like a folkloric deck. That's probably the right word for it. Which is something that really resonates deeply with me. And Amanda Spicer created a new oracle deck called Mercury Salty Sulphur, and I worked with that in conjunction with the Solara Occulto. And what I love about this deck is that it's very balanced in terms of the messages. So it's not too light, it's not too dark. It's very balanced in that way. It's very deep, and it gets really down, and it really gets down to the heart of the matter, and it really brings this richness to the tarot readings. So it really gives an added layer, which is it really works very well. And I just really appreciate working with this, and I plan on working with it quite a bit more. So yeah, that is it for all of the decks I worked with in June. I do hope to do some more videos for the month of July. I hope to pick back up. Thinking of doing some more VRs. I am hopping back into a couple of challenges this month, because I have this new journaling system and I'm excited about it, and it's new. So because it's new, I'm using it. So that's why I'm like, I'm not gonna do a whole journaling journey just yet, because I kind of want to see. Let's see how long this sticks, because this is my third journal, my third kind of journaling system that I've been using. So let's see about that. And I also want to do a couple of videos on just like how I work and all of that other stuff, but I have to kind of plan it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, thanks, bye.